Yeah, so first of all, I just want you to explain to the people that are listening who you are and what you do, and then we'll dive straight into it.
Yeah, so my name is Ntantu, formerly known as Deva. I used to be called Deva, but I'm an artist, a music artist first and foremost. But I'm also a filmmaker and a creator and a creative. Um, so yeah, I do everything from filming, promo videos, music videos,
Mhm.
directing, producing, writing scripts for short stories.
It's
Oh,
pretty
what else I
interesting,
do?
bro. You do a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah. So I try to not like uh sort of label myself as just one thing. That's why I tell people I'm a creative rather than just like I just do that. But my main thing and my main focus is music.
Of course.
Uh,
I
so
want
yeah,
I wanted to talk about that first because that's how I got to know you through music.
yeah.
Obviously, as the years have gone on, obviously you've done other things, but just diving down into the music industry to start with, what kind of inspired you to do music? Have you always been involved with it since a kid, or?
Yeah, you know what? From when we were young, from when mum was young, like I'd say probably about I don't know 11, 12 on a bus messing around. My
Yeah,
brethren was actually older than me, and he was an MC. So I started out because he was doing it, and I thought, I could do this. I mean, everyone listened to grime back then. You get me? So you start sort of playing around, and you go home, write lyrics, and then at the end of the day, after school, we'd show each other like the bars we'd written, like either on the bus, on the back of the bus, or like just as we were like walking home or something. So
hmm
it started pretty much there, and then it just grew and grew and grew, and I just started writing more and more and more, and then I got invited down to do some sets back in the day when we used to do sets on tapes and record it and then
yeah,
send it out around the hood. So that was my first real sort of introduction into sort of music
yeah,
informally, and then you get to the next level of life and you start learning about recording
hmm
and how to record and just um like what software to use to record, that kind of thing. And I was always intrigued and interested in the process of how things happen and how they work and how you make things better. And I was always sort of trying to learn how to
hmm
get better and better and better. And then obviously, fast forward to today. Oh, I forgot to mention as well. I produce as well. I'm a
yeah,
producer, music producer. Um, and fast forward to today, that's why I'm able to do so much with like the creative medium, and do a lot of stuff at high quality because I've always been trying to learn little
hmm
bits here and there to sort of get better. The reason why I pretty much started with film work was because I wanted to make my music videos better.
yeah.
So that's you know what I mean. Everything started off with trying to just get
100%.
better and better. So yeah,
I was gonna say like that translation must like help so much, but I kind of want to touch on that a little bit later. I want to
yeah.
talk about because listening to your music is kind of like storytelling in some sense. Do you write for that reason?
Yeah.
Like, do you write wanting to tell a story in terms of
You,
contributing to a music video at the same time, or?
yeah. See, the whole idea, and this is this is even with just pop music or whatever, is you are telling a story. It's like
Yeah.
like me, when I write about things, I'm looking at it as if it was a movie.
hmm
If I was to watch this song, like a video or whatever, what would it look like? So everything from that point of view is storytelling, and you're not even just telling a story with just the lyrics, but like if you're singing the melody, certain cadences, how you structure a song, that kind of thing, the fast pace of us, all of that matters when it comes to telling the story or telling a story. And
yeah.
that's the thing. Everyone sort of they buy into a story a lot more than just sort of a random thing where you just singing
100%.
about one thing. You know what I mean?
A
So
hundred percent.
it sticks with you a lot more in it. So
Yeah.
so that
That,
that's the one thing that I find uh, very synonymous with a lot of creative stuff is telling a story. And obviously, you as a filmmaker yourself, you'll know exactly what I mean.
That's why I've always been like, I messaged you a few times, haven't we? We've talked about working together. That's the reason why I've messaged you, to be honest, because I see that, you know what I mean? And a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people just want standard videos or get a performance shot, make it look cool. And it's just like, although it looks visually pleasing, like there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I want to start telling stories. I want to start switching up a little bit. You know?
It's difficult, and the thing is, I've really wanted to work with you as well, but every single time I'm thinking, I'm ready. Like something will happen, or the goalposts will shift, or my mind, something will change. You get me? So we definitely need to make that happen. But I agree with you 100% with the music video stuff, because like I feel like there's a trend of like a certain type of video, and you know exactly what I'm on about. Where people who and I'm not, this is no diss to directors or anything like that. People who are just starting out, trying to figure out how to be a director and how to edit videos and stuff. They'll make the video based on how many effects I can throw in there. Like what, like, you know what I mean, how can I make it look interesting? And just film these guys, and people think that that's good. Like they don't. It's almost like they don't look outside of that world of that style of music video to see what else is available to them. It's just that one style, and then they take that and think, oh yeah, that's the standard, that's the level I need to reach, that's what I want things to look like. But really, that's just like, it's one thing taken from a style of video where you're limited in your resources, so you're trying to make the video as interesting as possible with effects and stuff like that. I mean, some videos are sick when it's planned, but when it's just like you're throwing random stuff here and there and everywhere, it's not really as appealing as a story, like you're saying.
I was literally about to say that. It's about like honing your craft, and end of the day, like if you're not happy with it, just go back and reshoot it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what makes you a good creative. You know, realizing like, well, I'm not happy with this, I want to go reshoot some scenes or shots. And I've been a sucker for it, you know, with the effects thing. I've been a sucker for it way back in the past, but you get to a point where it's kind of like, well, I want to be an actual film director now. I want to be a filmmaker. I don't want to just or I do something here and there, and then I can do a few effects, and it's just like.
But the thing is, sometimes it's not even just your ability; it's what people are asking for. Like when I'm doing videos for other people, I always tell them, look, if you're coming to me for something, I'm going to tell you what I think you need, like this needs, and I'm going to tell you how I work. And if you don't like that, then there's no point in even going further than that. So like, for instance, if I'm doing a video, I want to do it where I'm telling a story, or if we don't have the resources to do someone's idea, I'll tell them, don't do that. That's not, you know what I mean? You haven't got the budget for that. So let's do this instead. And then sometimes people their expectation is that they want it like a video that's already done, it's already out there, and it's like you can't really copy that. But you tell them, look, I'll try my best to make it work, to do it. But it turns out when you do it, it just looks like another generic video. But the reason why that video by, I don't know, Travis Scott looks like that is because they've got $1 million budget behind the video, and the reason why your video looks like this is because you don't. So it's sometimes it's not even just it's not even just what the filmmaker or the director's skill level. It's not that. It's what people want, and when they don't understand the world that we're in, apart, like where you understand like budgets and how much things cost, and the realistic sort of shots that you're trying to get with the equipment that you have and the equipment that's available to you, like that's when videos, I feel, they're lacking, because when someone's trying to do a big blockbuster video style sort of thing on a super small budget, it always looks not tacky, but like it doesn't turn out great. So there's a way of trying to meet those worlds, or meet in the middle, and make it look good. Like, for instance, the video that I did for It's Peak, which is one of my songs. So appreciate that. So that video we knew what we wanted, but I knew that I wasn't going to be able to film it like super cinematic, high level, because of the first of all, time constraints, the amount of people that we needed to make everything happen.
Yeah.
So we decided to film it like it was like fly on the wall, kind of like, you know, The Office, that type of style, where it's like the camera's moving and the shake and that kind of thing, and you can kind of see still the quality is still good, but it's all about the story. It's not about the how it's filmed. It's the story, the pace of the actual video,
and that matters so much more than how it actually looks. Like, I think that's the key to filmmaking. Like, filmmaking isn't about how it looks; it's about the story that you're trying to tell. Like, you can even film it on an iPhone, as long as the story is there. It doesn't matter. Like, people are going to draw into the story because connect with humans at the end of the day. That's why we watch films, because we emotionally connect with the characters. So yeah, that's the route I'm trying to go at now as well. Moving forward.
If you don't mind me asking, how do you get into actual film making?
For me, it was funny one, because I was a dancer and I wanted to be a dancer, like full on proper.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I took it quite serious, and then it got to college and there was no dance. I did pretty shit academically. Like, I've never been that good with school. So no one else would take me apart from Bradford. So Bradford don't actually have a dance course. They have performing arts, but that's acting and singing. And I don't do either of them. So I was like, I'm going to stay true to myself. I used to film myself doing dance videos, and I really enjoyed that process. So I thought, I actually did the media course for that reason, you know, to get better at filming, so I could do good. And then I just fell in love with it. Well, I didn't at first. I was like, yo, this is so confusing. This is too much. But
bro,
I think I fell in love with having the ability to have freedom to tell your story. And I do think dancing has obviously helped me understand that, because dancing is that free form. Like, you're telling a story through your body movements. I fell in love with the process of kind of doing the same thing, but through visuals. So ever since then, it's just grew, bro.
Oh, sick. Well, that makes sense though, because obviously I always say to people, if you can't hire an actor for a role, hire a dancer, because in terms of performance, they're performing obviously 90%, is it 90% or 70% of communication is body language. So that story that you're trying to, or the character you're trying to get across, dancers are perfect because they're charismatic. They understand body language, they understand movement, that kind of thing. And obviously that's for me is like a real creative mind. You have to be really creative to understand and try to put yourself in certain positions. So it kind of makes sense that you went into filmmaking, because you took that creativeness and you sort of trying to put it now behind the actual filming. You get me?
And it's funny how you broke it down then, because it is actually, I have adapted it to my filmmaking skills. Like, when I've written up some ideas, like some short film ideas. I won't say short films, I'd say like scene sequences.
Right,
but none of them hardly have dialogue. It's all body language. And I've never really thought of it that way until you've obviously just mentioned it then, that it's obviously to do with my dance and the translation from body language from dance, kind of then putting it into how I vision my films in the future. Like, I always think body language speaks more than words.
100%. It's like you can. I was watching this thing, a documentary or whatever, where just the position of a certain, like your body in a certain way, in proportion to the camera, gives a certain feeling, emotion, that kind of thing, compared to if you were stood straight in the middle still. All of that is important in terms of telling a story, because again, body language is the main source of communication for us anyway. So
like meetings,
yeah, man, makes sense.
When you go in a meeting, first thing you see is body language, and you're just This conversation's sick though. Like, this is probably the most intense creative that I've talked about, and I'm really enjoying where it's going. I kind of want to dig back onto the music and kind of like talk about, did that help you with what you're doing now? Because I can imagine writing music easily can transcript into, screenwriting and things like that. So
yeah. So the screenwriting stuff didn't really. It happened by accident, really. So there's two incidences. So like back, let's say, nearly 10 years ago, I had a job working for a performing arts agency as admin, and we used to collaborate with other entities and other companies and stuff.
yeah.
And one project I was working on was a film project with ITV,
Okay.
and they got young people to basically, you had to pick like a company or something to do a mini documentary on, interview someone, that kind of thing. So I was part of that, and then as part of the training for that, we had to do script writing. So we went off and we did like a course in, where was it? I think it was Huddersfield somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, Bolton. Into Bolton and did a script writing course, and there was someone who written for some BBC shows there, came down and talked to us and stuff like that. And I started sort of picking up little bits from there and thinking, oh, it's not as complicated as I thought, because I thought they were going to like make us write a whole TV script for something or whatever, you get me? So it's not as complicated as I thought, but then I also realized, okay, there's certain mechanics that I use with music which I can take and apply it to this because it makes sense to me in that sense. So that was one time. The second time was a thing called Writing Britain, where again I was more interested in the film aspect, as in filming something rather than actually writing it. And then I ended up writing you had to write like a little paragraph of something, a story or whatever. I wrote it, submitted it, and then I got chosen as like the final 15 or something or whatever. And we sat down for like 3 weeks with some script writers. We you hash things out and that kind of thing, and then I ended up getting picked as 3 films to be made for a Writing Britain series, which was done through Studio 12, and it was supposed to be the film was supposed to go out on BBC 3, but that's when BBC 3 the funding got pulled from the government, and then they got taken off TV, so it didn't end up going on there for some reason. But the film that I did then, again, it was written not because I wanted to write a film, but it was written because I wanted to actually do a like be on screen, and have a high quality piece of artwork for me to sort of have as in my portfolio. It was no intention of me writing any story or whatever like that. But I thought, you know what, I write songs. I've done spoken word before, so how hard can it be? You get me? Yeah. So yeah, I think with the music, I guess I could say from writing, like obviously because I'm a rapper, from writing raps and stuff like that, it kind of gave me the confidence to jump into the field of script writing and not be afraid.
Yeah.
But those two incidences helped me to sort of shape me as a writer and be like, oh, actually, wait, I've written 2 things that are actually are worthy of people actually watching and you get me and appreciate it. So I was like I'm working on some stuff at the moment, but yeah, so that's how I got into it, and yeah, the music probably did help. I don't actually really think too much about how it helped me.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it most probably did.
It's because you're always writing in it, and you're always like telling stories through music. So
yeah.
It's kind of like just, well, it is way bigger, but like really stretching that story out, whatever you're condensing in a music video.
Yeah.
A 90-page feature film or whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to talk about your inspirations when it comes to writing. Like what kind of genres are you into? Because from your music videos, I can tell it's kind of like upbeat comedy, but it might be totally different when it comes to screenwriting.
Bro, this is my whole thing is I love comedy. Like comedy is like, I don't understand some people who can't watch a comedy or whatever. When people say, oh, what type of films you like? Oh, I don't like comedies. I'm like, what? Like, I love comedies. That comedy is, for me, it's the the complete canvas where you can talk about something so absolutely outrageous and get away with it. But it's a good place to sort of have some sort of therapy as well, because when they say when you laugh at yourself, that kind of thing. So like one of my inspirations is Dave Chappelle. He is unapologetically like one of the funniest people like ever, I feel, and he
talking about him.
This is what I'm saying. Thing is, he doesn't care. It's not like he doesn't care, but he's not worried about what people think. Which is the most important thing. He's got the balls to say something outrageous, but in order for you to think about your moral conscience. So like he talked about Donald Trump in one of his sorry, not Donald Trump, O.J. Simpson, in one of his stand-up specials, and he talks about like how I don't know if you know about the O.J. Simpson trial.
I watched
do you know about it?
Netflix series.
Yeah. So obviously he got acquitted for murder, which a lot of people obviously think that he did, but he tells it in such a way where he's explaining how he met him 3 times, and each of those 3 times were different stages of his life and different stages of OJ's people, how they perceived him. And the first time was before he was in trouble with the law, and he was like this superhero, and everyone loved him, that kind of thing. The second time, like, was after the murder. The third time was when he bumped into him at a show. And like he was like, yeah, he did that shit. Like but the thing is, it's he's talking about sort of the shift in how people perceive O.J. Simpson as a character, as a personality. And he was like, and every time he met O.J. Simpson, he was like the nicest person, blah 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 blah. But then like he would describe like the feeling. It was a different feeling every time. So those little things where it's not so obvious. Well, it's obvious, but it's not obvious if you know what I mean. It's like you're bringing out little things that that subconsciously you're thinking, and you don't want to say out loud. But he says it out loud so that you start thinking about it, and that's the beauty of the comedy. It allows you to actually talk about things that no one really wants to talk about. And for me, with writing in terms of like screenplay and stuff like that, I feel like the most entertaining form of video, visuals, that kind of thing, is some sort of comedy. So yeah, I try to incorporate that in as much as I can my videos. I love my videos to sort of be cinematic and artful as possible, but at the same time, there's a side of me that where, again, from me being a fan of comedy, that I feel like I have to put my own stamp on something. Like, I'd love to do like more with it, but obviously that'll come when like opportunities come in, budgets and stuff like that. So yeah, comedy is the thing for me that I sort of I go to the most when it comes to sort of films and stuff like that. Have you seen
comedy's like,
sorry, go on.
As well, like comedy, when it comes to writing, I was always taught in uni that comedy is literally the hardest to execute, because you kind of need to. It's a touchy one, isn't it? Bless you. But it's a touchy one, because, like you said, you can either go to that route where David Chappelle goes, or you can be touchy about it. But I think the best thing about comedy is it's kind of like you can speak the truth because you are thinking it, obviously, as you're writing it.
Yeah, it's your unapologetic thoughts that you say out loud, and you say it for laughs, but at the same time, it's almost like, man, like I didn't actually think of that in that way before, or man, I can't believe he said that. Like, we were all thinking it, but like, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So yeah, I love it, bro. I love comedy. Have you seen Dave on BBC iPlayer?
No.
Do you know Little Dicky, the rapper?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in fact, this is on Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, his production company produced this show, and it's about him trying to be a rapper, and basically kind of like a self autobiographical comedy drama.
Okay.
So it's him trying to be a rapper, and you just see him go through like the internet fame where he goes viral, and he's trying to impress his friends, and he's trying to be a serious rapper because people keep thinking he's this internet viral guy who's a funny comedian / rapper, but he's trying to be serious. He's trying to work with like serious artists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you just go through different stages, but it's hilarious. I think that was one of the.
Is it fictional or is it actual documentary based?
Well, it's fictional in a sense that it's not real, but because he's written the script, it's almost like a really well scripted reality show.
Okay.
But it's a TV show. It's a drama. It's not a reality show.
Okay.
When I watched the first episode,
yeah,
I promise you'll watch the rest of it and you'll thank me later. You'll ring me and you'll be like, thank you. You'll be like, yo, how did I not see about this? It's so funny. Dave. Huh? It's called Dave. Yeah. It's some of the best. Like, I love that style of comedy because when you're putting it in real life situations, like with your brethren, and you're just laughing about stuff or you're telling jokes about certain things, it's literally like that. And I always used to say when me and my brethren were chilling, I'm like, oh man, I wish we had a camera to film all of this because this would be jokes to sort of to show people. But that's exactly what it's like. It's exactly what it's like. So yeah, that's what I would eventually like to get to. I would like to get an opportunity to make something like that. So I'm working on some stuff at the moment. But yeah.
Keep doing you, man. Especially through your music videos, you can obviously see it. So just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm pretty sure it'll get to where it needs to go.
Yeah, man. Say, bro.
I want to talk about. Have you started a production team, right? Called 3 Pieces. Is that right?
Yeah. So we basically haven't really made anything together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, tell a lie now. You know what? We've worked on a lot of things. That's a lie. Sorry, we've worked on a lot of things. We just don't sort of.
I get where you're going with this. You don't
brag about it. We don't really post about the stuff that we do, but we always work together. Like, in fact, I'd say probably 90% of the stuff that I've done have been with Ty Guy and Luke, DOP, because they're the other two members of the 3-piece team.
I've had Luke on here. He's a legend.
Oh man, you know what I love about Luke, right? Is like he's always prepared. I swear to God, like every single time we've been on a shoot, and it's like, oh, we forgot about this. Just pulls it out of nowhere, like a magic hat. Pulls out the exact thing that we need, and I'm just like how do you always prepare literally every single thing that you can think of that you'll need on a shoot? He has or he's thought about. He's always prepared, and he's knowledgeable because he started out as a photographer, so his knowledge about composition and lighting and just all the aesthetics of film is up there with some of the best people I've worked with anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
So he's ridiculous. Yeah,
so sick. So how did that even form together? How did you end up working with them in the past, and then you thought, all right, well, we could do something with this, or was it social thing?
Yeah. So it's kind of a mix of both. So me and Ty Guy, we've been making music together for years. I've known him. He's one of my best friends. I've known him for 10, 15 plus. Yeah. He produces as well. So I'm trying to think what song he produced for me that you might know. What's the most recent one that we did? He's done a few of mine. I'm just trying to think of what's the most recent one of mine that he's done.
Play it now, bro, if you want, through the thing. This will be the first time anyone's played music on the podcast.
I don't even know. Can you? If I press play on something, will you be able to hear it? In fact, I'll just play through the speakers.
We'll give it a go.
Me and Tiger have got bare tunes. he's basically, if you think about Drake, he's my 40.
Okay.
Let me just try and find something.
It's good to have that connection though as a musician, I think, because not many people do. I know Harrison Mead has a producer and stuff like that, which is good. Connected with. I think Jamsey does as well. And it's just you know, it's always good to have that with you, because obviously it's like once you grow and as a team, everyone's going to be, you know.
Exactly. No, 100%, because you can't do everything yourself. I try as much as I can to do everything myself, but you just can't. You can't do everything yourself. Did you hear my song called Them Things? It's like,
is that your most recent though?
No. It's like three years ago we dropped it. I don't even have it on this computer. Oh man, we've got bare tunes together anyway. Sorry, completely forgot. Water.
Is that the way? Where is that? Where's that shot?
So we shot that in Zante. So basically, I'll just play a little bit of it. So that's the song. I'll just play a little bit of it.
I read the tune, man, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually sick." I wonder if we shot it in UK or it's actually abroad. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Can you hear that, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah.
We don't know them. Tell a F-boy, see you later. If you got style, then show them this. So you want up for the haters. You don't wanna waste my idea.
Hey.
My hat is sliding. Outfit matching my beard. Drop top, but she ride it. Girl, me with you, what that? You do a hot spice. Label like, oh, you a hot spice. You go back the next door, but you're not nice. Quench me with you, what that? You do a hot spice. I just want you to come by. Maybe you a hot spice.
Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, so Tyga produced that.
Sick. I didn't even know, man. I need to get him on, actually. I need to get him on. Yeah, I never even. I never even well, I think we messaged once or twice, but I didn't even know about Tyga until recently, till this past year.
Yeah. Thing about Ty is he's a very reserved guy. He doesn't really boast about stuff if he doesn't need to. Yeah. So so the thing is with him, he's kind of like me, where he's interested in a lot of different stuff, but he's really detailed and he takes time with his craft to sort of be really good at it. Yeah. So like production wise and recording, he taught me pretty much all the basics that when we started making music together. Yeah. And then obviously making videos, he did my first music video. Mm-hmm. And then we've just been learning and growing together really. And then Tyga used to be in a production duo with DJ Ignition. I don't know if you know Ignition. Yeah. Anyway, so that's Luke's brother. Luke and Tyga and Ignition, they all went to school together, to high school together. So that's how they know each other. Yeah. I know all three of them through mutual friends that we got introduced to that do music. So ever since I was like 16, I was just going over to Ty Guy's house. We were recording, chilling, that kind of thing, and then we go out together, and then we like you. I mean, just building your friendship just grows and grows and grows, and you start off with one interest, and then everything grows from there. Yeah. So that's pretty much how we started. We didn't really start and really think about doing a production company until we all realized that we've all got skills or a skill set where we could use this to actually make money from. And it's like, oh, why aren't we making money from this? And because at the time, I think Luke he did a few videos, because Luke did a video for me actually. This is maybe 6 years ago or something. So we were doing it, but then we never really like did it for anyone else, and it was like, oh, might as well just start it now. Yeah. So we've always been interested in videos and stuff like that, but only the last few years we've really decided to team up and share resources, because obviously I was working more with people in the Yorkshire film industry, so I could sort of bring some people in and stuff like that and get them opportunities to do other stuff. So yeah, it just stemmed from there really. It's just, you know, friends just having a similar interest, and then we just build together, and that's how a lot of people start out. You get me? So
yeah. I'm looking to start one soon. Actually in talks with a few people. Yeah, man, excited, and it's an exciting time, you know, when you like progress into a production team. It's like shit, like this is the next level. Like
what I would say is if someone's stronger at doing something, I just always let them do that. Because then it just avoids, I want to do this, I want to do that. Then it's just like, nah, he's the guy doing that. So let him do it.
That's where some production teams can go shits up, because everyone wants to do their own thing. And it's just like, no, because the reason you're starting a production team is to do a certain thing in that team. So
exactly, yeah.
What's the point of even starting a production team if you're not going to let go of certain things, like, and just
exactly. And yeah, and the thing is that when and if you decide to grow, then there might be room for that other person who wanted to do the lighting to now be the lighting jock and do more grip stuff after that. So it comes round about, everyone will learn off each other, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's good to have a team of people to rely on, because it's not just you. When it's just you, sometimes it's a bit sort of like, oh man, like it's all on me. But when you've got other people to rely on, you know that, okay, the quality is going to be fine because he's just going to take care of that. I can do this side of things. I can focus on directing, or that person can focus on that. So it takes the pressure off you a little bit. You don't have to do a million and one things by yourself, because at the end of the day, filmmaking isn't a one-man job. Like you don't see big blockbuster films being made by just one person shooting. You get me?
100%.
So it's a team effort.
I always say that, like I've said it a few times in the podcast, and I kind of like categorize people now. I always categorize like solo creatives as videographers and filmmakers as people as want to work with a team, because that's what a filmmaker is. And videographer kind of, there's nothing wrong with it, but a videographer likes to do his own thing, and you know, don't want any help or involvement.
You're absolutely right, because and the people who do vlogging and people who do single man shooting, promo videos, that kind of thing, that's a videographer. Someone who's a filmmaker is someone who wants to, has the desire to sort of make a film or something on film, which for me takes more than just one person. So it could be that the director is actually the person who's in the film and is telling the person who's filming to do X, Y, and Z. That's a filmmaker. You could send something off to get color graded. Like I the last 2 videos that I've done, didn't grade it myself. Last 3 videos actually that I've done, didn't grade it myself. Just because I feel like that process, if I'm working with someone, they can just focus on that. I don't have to sit down and work out how I want. I'm in control of certain things, and I can leave that to them to do. It speeds up the process as well. And again, it just allows you to focus on your own little job. You get me? And then you don't have to do a million and one things.
Of course, and it becomes like a unit. It becomes like a family, and like you say, it makes the production value 10 times better, because everyone's doing their own thing, and everything's going to be to the best it can be in their own little sectors. You know what I mean? I just want to talk about. Do you do a lot of directing? Like, what's your role in terms of when you work as a team? What do you usually?
Yeah, I'm usually the director, or if I'm working with someone else, I'll be like assistant director or assistant whatever, or assistant DOP. So my role mainly is directing. Sorry.
No, it's all right. How do you 'cause I like to direct a lot, but I also I kind of like everything, but I'm trying to fixate on what it is I really want to do. And I think I've figured out I want to be either a director or camera operator, because I really Although I love editing, but I could easily pass it to someone else and not be bothered about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think for people at our level, like you're gonna do more than one job. There's gonna be more than one thing that's gonna pop up where you're gonna need to do that. You're gonna need to do that. You're gonna need to set up lights. You're gonna need to set up the schedule for tomorrow. which is usually the producer's job. You're going to need to set up the call times. You're going to need to arrange to get the equipment hired. You get me? That's usually the producer's job. You know what I mean? There's the stuff that you're going to do that isn't just the director's job. But in doing that, it's a good thing, because I think you have to know every single step of the process if you're going to be a director, because at the end of the day, it's all on you. It's literally all you and the producer are the most important people in the shoot, and the talent and the talent. Without that, there's no show. So I feel like it's good to have the skill set of everything else, because then you know what jobs do what and that kind of thing, and who can do those jobs and who can't. But if you wanted to focus on directing and that, I would just also maybe focus on screenwriting as well, writing scripts, and then like short. Just you don't have to make long films. You can just make it, like you said. You know how you're saying about scenes. People do that. A minute short story, a scene done. Yeah, I mean, block it out, that kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, man, go for it, man. Go for it. If that's what you feel like doing, go for it.
I was literally about to ask, what's your process then? Like, how do you like to work as a director? Do you kind of like to either do the screenplay, and if you don't do the screenplay, then how do you kind of look? Not screenplay, but some sort of script or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And if it isn't your piece of work that you've written, how do you then look at someone else's work and kind of adapt it to yourself? Have you ever been on a project like that?
So I've been on projects where I have not been directing, and I've been involved in that sort of process before. So on the ones where usually I have directed, I've usually got more involvement in the actual creative process. So what I like to do if I'm working with talent or someone is I take them away first, take them away from everything, have a chat with them, explain the scene, and then like you know about blocking out things.
Explain a little bit.
So blocking out is almost like going through like step by step where you want them to move, how you want them to move. When you say this happens and that happens.
Okay,
and then setting out different camera angles and where the camera's going to be here when you say this. Okay, let's try this now. So you do it slowly, step by step until everything, the movements is all sort of seamless, like poetry motion. So that you know, okay, we might not be able to film it from this angle because of this or whatever, or it looks too moody or whatever. So what we'll do is we'll work this out here. Might take a line out or whatever. So you basically you're going through the steps of the script step by step, and you block out each scene or each line or whatever, so that everyone's comfortable. And then you before you've spoken to like your DOP and the rest of the crew members or whatever, you speak to the actors first, you speak to the talent first, and you tell them what you want from them. Gives them time to then prepare whilst everything else is going on and everyone else is lighting, changing, that kind of thing. Because then it gives them time to not have to just go in straight after you've told them something. They've thought of it already in their head. They're already sort of going through it step by step in their own head to be able to sort of do the job. Because obviously, again, they're the most important thing apart from your job. So yeah, that's my process usually.
So you block it in, let's say, sentences. If it is a film, So
for instance, if it's if you were going through like a two-way conversation like me and you are having now, okay. So what you would do is you'd say, right, this is the scene. You're arguing with him. You're upset with him because he did something to you. He didn't realize. Go. When you say and then when you block it out, you tell them at certain stages in the conversation. At this point, when you say, like, you're an asshole or whatever, I don't know. Like you need to be, your body language needs to be forward towards the camera, and you need to sort of mean what you're saying. So you go through every line, every step by step, so that they know how to react in certain positions. Like some actors, they'll just naturally be able to do it. You just tell them what to do, go through the blocking once, and then it's like, okay, I've got it. Don't need to tell me again. And they just act it out.
Such an interesting way, because I would have never even thought of it. Obviously, I know you have to direct him in terms of what it is you want from him, but the blocking part, it definitely makes sense. It makes it so much easier for us as a director and also the actor. I can imagine it being so much easier for the actor.
Yeah, and blocking out is, again, it's more for the director as well, because what that helps with, and this is not just for, even with dialogue, this is music videos in general, just like setting up the camera, knowing camera lens changes. Do we need to change the camera lens for this scene? Because if you're doing a two-way shot of someone, and then you want to get closer, maybe for a different effect, you're going to know that at some point the camera lens needs to change. You don't even have to do the script in order. You don't have to do it. You could do it, the first half of it, backwards, because sometimes you feel is that you want the shots to be a two-way shot where someone's here and then someone's like further back, like there. Sorry, further back, like here. Like, so that's the person near to the camera, but then you might want to change the angle and then do the shoulder over like that. So, and then doing it like that from the same direction would look weird with the same lens. So you might want to change the lens to make it look or give a certain effect, and that helps you. And that helps you. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. No, exactly that, and that helps you as well know where you are in terms of the mood of the story, that kind of thing. So blocking out is an important part of I feel filmmaking. It's almost like what you would do is you'd go and you'd make the film, but you do it so slowly, not really concentrating on the quality, but you do it really slowly until everyone sort of knows what they're doing, and then you go and you shoot, and then you shoot the next one, you shoot the next one, you shoot the next one, and it just works.
That's
But my process is speak to the talent first, talk to them, get them to understand blah blah blah, and then you move on and you talk to the rest of the crew members or whatever. So,
sorry, finish off with.
Sorry, go on.
I want to know, like, what's your inspirations when it comes to directing? How do you like, who first of all do you look up to, and then second of all, like, how do you find your vision, I guess, when it comes to writing things up and then directing it?
I think the inspirations that I take is from films. Sorry, the films that I already like, or things that I've seen. I'm like, yo, that's something that I've got an idea for that. Like, you see something and you think, yo, I've got an idea for that. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel with a film. You can just take the wheel and redesign it. You know what I mean? If I've seen, like, there's a scene in Its Peak where it's a shot where it's an over-the-shoulder shot where it's focused on me, and then I look at the girl, and then the camera pulls focus to the girl, and then back to me afterwards in one sort of shot. And that was taken from an Alicia Keys video. The idea from that. Okay. And I took that same shot, and I was like, yeah, we need to replicate that from that. So it's literally taking things that you're literally interested in or you've been inspired by, and then adding them into a story that you want to create. And the actual storylines that I come up with are usually based on sort of real experiences or things that I've seen that I've taken an interest in. Because they always say, if you're writing something, write what you know. Don't try and, I'd never try and make a horror flick, because I don't really watch horror flicks. I'm not really into that. You get me? So yeah, that's I think the best place.
Similar to me, to be fair. I just wanted to ask that question because it is an interesting one. How people learn or how people find inspiration, because I'm a sucker for watching Netflix, but not in the sense of just watching Netflix for the sake of it. I like to find inspiration. I'm always trying to, like, find something that stays in my head, and I'm like, all right, well, I know the reason why that stayed in my head. So what can I do to do something similar to stay in other people's head. Have you seen
Right, yeah.
The Hate You Give?
No, I heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
It's so sick. Like, that film stuck in my head so much.
Is it Spike Lee?
I'm not sure in terms of the director. I don't think it is, actually. I don't think it is him.
Hold on, I'm jumping on Netflix. I swear I saw it, or I heard someone say something about it, and I'm pretty sure it was.
Mate, it made me cry. Like, and I don't I cry at films, bro. But
yeah.
I think for me, I've always said this from day one. When it comes to filmmaking, or when it comes to short films, or whatever, when it comes to me producing something that's storytelling, I always want it to be relatable. So I always want to tackle real life situations, and I've said that from day dot. And I don't know why. I think it's obviously childhood and what I've seen, and then obviously it's just transformed into films. And obviously I like watching dramas, and I like watching weirdly I like watching dystopian sci-fi, which is like, you know, your Maze Runner or
bro, I didn't realize I liked sci-fis until
Interstellar.
Interstellar is my top. I'm gonna say strong top 3.
Amazing.
In my top 3.
Amazing.
Like a lot of people hated that film. I was watching that film for the cinematography and the screenplay, and I'm like, I was blown away by just the storytelling, and it's just like the actual story as well. Like,
you're a genius to write that shit. Like, I don't think I think the people that didn't like it don't understand filmmaking. Maybe.
Yeah. I think I was talking about this the other day, actually, which is mad. There's people who take things literally, and people who are able to read between the lines. And those people are usually the people who have a certain traits, and they're usually more artistic people or spiritual people. And the thing is, I don't blame people for being how they are in terms of like not being able to read between the lines or whatever. But it's a little bit frustrating when people completely dismiss something because they don't understand it or whatever. And that's the annoying thing, because that film is so, in terms of opening the mind to thinking in a certain way, like the whole thing about time dilation. I don't know if you know much about space and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a geek for space.
No,
I could talk forever about space. But anyway, so like for instance, my missus, she wasn't understanding that if you're on another planet and the gravitational pull is basically completely different in terms of where it is in space compared to where Earth is, that you could come back and it might feel like an hour to you on the Earth or whatever, but somewhere else time is moving a lot faster. And in that place time was moving a lot slower on that planet. And then when they came back, like, was it 5 hours later, the guy was like in his 70s or 60s or whatever, on the ship. That's difficult for people to comprehend, but she completely dismissed it, and I'm like, no, it makes complete sense. It makes complete, if you take the time to understand the laws of physics, it makes sense. So, and then also the thing about being able to contact his daughter in the past or from the future or whatever, going through a black hole, that kind of thing, because there are theories which actually say it might be possible to be able to do that, not contact you from the past, but basically it says that. So I'm going to go really deep on this. Right. So basically, this is one theory, right? So the Big Bang Theory is basically, what it tells you is that everything was at a single point. Everything in the universe was at a single fine point, all to clump together at one point. When we talk about time, we're not talking about measuring how long the length of time it takes you to get somewhere. We're talking, when we talk about time scientifically, we're talking about the time of the expansion of the universe in terms of how fast the universe is expanding, right? So it's a weird thing to comprehend, but everything went from one small little point, tiny point, into a vastness of everything, right?
Yeah.
So if we're talking about time as everything accelerating, that means that everything in the past, everything in the future, everything in the present is the same thing, because it was everything that exists was at that one point. So if we're measuring time, we're measuring existence, aren't we? So if everything existed at one fine point, that means that your past, your present, your future, all of that is the same thing. So if you went through a wormhole, for instance, to access a different point in time, that means that if you are, for instance, trying to make contact with someone from the past, that already happened. You know, like she sees a ghost.
Yeah.
So that had already happened. That was always happening. It's always happened because when we talk about time, everything was at one point, a fine single point before, which means that your past, your present, your future is the same thing. It's a very, you know, it's a crazy theory, but then when you think about it, it's like, oh mad, because if we're measuring time as existence, and every single particle in the universe at one point was at a finite point, it was all clumped together. That means your past, your present, your future is the same thing. It's always happened. It's always going to happen. That kind of thing. That's a theory, by the way. I'm not saying I believe it, but it's like it just makes you think in it. It's like wow, how do you even think of that?
I love stuff like that that just makes you think, and I think that's what that film definitely does for a lot of people.
Yeah. That's the beauty of film. Like you're saying, it should make you think. It should make you question things. It should make you art. In fact, art in general.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. It's a reflection of us as a society and our thoughts and what can be, what has been, that kind of thing. It's a reflection of all of that. So it's important for art to be able to make you think and talk about things and do things and wonder about things. And you get me? That's the whole point of it, I think, anyway.
100% it is. Yeah. I agree. 100%. Like even paintings, that relates. For me, it's kind of like painting. I can get inspiration from a picture. I might not understand the meaning, but that's irrelevant, I guess, because for me, it's how I perceive things. So say if I'm looking at a picture,
exactly,
I'm seeing it totally different to what the person next to me crying is seeing it as. So
exactly.
It's like it's same in that film. But when they see us, I cried. My girlfriend didn't cry. My girlfriend usually the crier when she watches films.
Yeah, bro. Me,
I emotionally connect with that story because it's about police and corruption and Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually the police doing anything bad in the film. It was the fact that the parent had to line the kids up, telling them that they're better than. And it stuff like that. It's just
yeah.
Why is that a reality? And it just hit badly, man. It just
bro. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't finish watching it.
Right.
It was one of the pieces of films that's come out recently that I just can't bring myself to go and watch it, because when I heard about the story before the film came out, I was angry anyway, and then when you see it come to life in the film, it's like it's so painful. Like this whole this whole sort of I don't want to call it a movement, because it's just reality for us anyway. Because I know you've got mixed race heritage as well, so this whole movement of Black Lives Matter and stuff like that is sort of awakening a lot of people to the actual experience of Black and brown people around the world that happened today. And this is not even, you don't even have to go back that far, that long back. Like my parents lived through and grandparents lived through situations where they were oppressed by a system which was built to basically cater for this, be honest, for white people.
Yeah,
and
it always has. I think if you look at the history, it always has, and it's not. That's not even me like bad mouthing any white people, because it's history. It's nothing to do with them, and I think people understand. Well, a lot of people understand that. Some people don't, but it's out of our control. We cannot like change history because it's already been undone. But what we can change now, and I think we're definitely well, I say we because we're all human. We're definitely making a change, and I think
100%.
It's a good change. But I also don't want people to think it's a white versus black or brown thing, because it's not. It's
completely not.
Human thing. It's like human rights. That's what it is. It's fighting for human rights for.
I mean, I think there's a lot of people, and this is, social media doesn't help sometimes, because there's a lot of people who have opinions, who voice their opinions, and then it gets reshared several thousands of times, and it looks like that's the general consensus of how everyone feels. And it's like, it's so easy for someone who's not educated enough, even as a black person, you get me, who talks about how they feel about everything that's going on in the world, someone who can't articulate their feelings properly, to come across like spreading hate for white people or whatever like that. You get me? It's so easy to look at that and start saying, oh, it's a them against us thing. It's you trying to make it a white against black thing. So there's not enough people who are educated on the subject matter. Not educated, because intelligence has got nothing to do with being able to articulate something or being able to understand something. If you have an understanding about something, and you can articulate that so that it gives people a broad understanding, rather than just saying how you feel and just like, because people are angry. And this is the thing, people, they think with, they react with their emotion rather than with rational. And because people are in so much trauma and pain and stuff like that, your emotions are going to take the best of you and take over you and react in a way which isn't logical. So that is one of the main reasons why I think there is a lot of what I'm seeing. There is a lot of opposition to the movement, because there's a lot of people who aren't articulating themselves in a way where people can comprehend and understand why we feel this way. You get me? So it's some people might look at it and think, oh, you're just complaining and you're not really, you know what I mean, you're complaining about this and that's not fair, and like it's not fair for us as well. They might feel like it's not fair for them for a certain reason. But if you can articulate how like certain injustices, and I've been doing a lot of telling some of my brethren who aren't black about the history of how certain things in this country, not even in this country, just around the world, think how things have been set up, and it goes back to colonial slavery, all of that, those days, and those things still have an effect on what is going on today. Like, for instance, you probably didn't know this, or some people didn't know this until recently, when the slave owners where slavery was abolished, the slave owners were compensated for loss of property, right? So they got paid compensation. What's it called? Reparations, basically.
Yeah.
But none of the slaves got paid reparations for their ancestors or for their work that they'd done before. In America, they were all promised 40 acres and a mule, that kind of thing. And the UK government had to pay a large chunk of that, because a lot of the UK was profiting from it, and a lot of the UK was basically buying people out of slavery from these wealthy merchants and stuff like that. And we didn't actually end up paying the actual debt back to these companies and families until 2015.
Wowzers.
2015, bro. And that's how much the interest was and stuff like that. And this is the UK taxpayer paying this. This is not this is not just like the government just saying here's some money. UK taxpayers' money was going towards paying that back. So, for instance, Barclays Bank was founded on money and merchants that used to build slave ships, and some of them were slave owners. Little things like that, where it's like those institutions were built on the back of free labor. That's what you need to understand. So when that is set up for you to prosper off of certain demographics, free labor, those things are gonna there's gonna be things that are institutionalized, which basically make sure that not by hook or crook, but just make sure that there's a certain power structure which is kept in a certain place. For instance, why do you think that they put on your, when you're going for a job, your ethnicity? They always say, oh, it's because we need to make sure that we're not discriminating against blah blah blah. But you know what I mean? If it's irrelevant, then take it off. If you're trying not to discriminate, completely take it off. Then why do you need to know?
It's so sad, the world that we're living in. You're very knowledgeable about it. I can obviously tell. And I've only recently, like, I'm starting to get there. I'm starting to understand it. Obviously, I've known about it because my mum's talked about, even when that's only about what? She mum was 53 now, I think.
Yeah. She would have lived through it, yeah.
And walk home, get beat up just because of the colour of her skin. And that to me just absolutely baffles my head. And that wasn't even long ago. That was 50 years ago.
People are still alive now, so your mum's generation will know, potentially could know someone who's been a slave.
My granddad's still alive, and I'm pretty sure some of his family, or he'll definitely know something or someone in that's been through hell and back.
Yeah.
My granddad originates from Dominica, so I don't know what back over there, but
yeah,
he explained it was pretty rough. So I don't know what I mean by that, because I never really talked about it too deeply.
Right.
But I've heard some stories. But yeah,
you should find out, man. You should find out. Do some research. Yeah.
I talked about the George Floyd thing to him, but the sad thing is, I didn't even finish what I said. I just said, "Have you heard about what's happened in America?" It's like, "No, what's happened?" It's like, "Oh, have you heard about George Floyd?" And he didn't even know the guy's name, but he knew exactly where I was about to go with it.
Right. Yeah.
And then just went on for ages talking about it's always been like this. And I think he mentioned something to do with his dad knowing someone that works in politics back in the day, so he knows a lot about how corrupt it is. And I think I watched the 13th as well, documentary on Netflix, by the way. If anyone's listening, definitely watch it. And
it's deep.
It's mad how America's so corrupt. Like, obviously the world is, but I mean, America's so bad for it in how they I can't even say the word.
Strategically, yeah. No, I'm just saying strategically. I help you out with that one.
I can't even say that. Place people with black ethnicity in certain areas that are not, like, they categorize them basically in America. They put them in areas that are not so wealthy or
redlined. Yeah.
And
they do it here, bro.
Yeah, they do it here. London's for it. Everyone thinks London's all beautiful and posh. Nah, there's so much political and horrible stuff going on down there.
Yeah.
It's all a game. They know what they're doing for a fact. Look at the tower that got burnt down in London. There's still issues not being sorted. Why?
Bro,
because it's in a rough area that's not, well, I wouldn't even say a rough area, because that's a horrible statement to say.
Yeah.
It's in an area that's not so wealthy, and the reason being is because it's been placed there. And the fact that it's been burnt down and nothing's been done with it, it kind of just shows. And that's only one thing out of the whole history of what's going on. That just shows.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
The government isn't how corrupt it is, just because it's not a flat full of white people. Imagine.
Yeah. If that happened in flat in Chelsea, someone would have been in jail already. Like, I guarantee you that.
Notre Dame. It got sorted straight away. Had billions, not even millions, billions invested into it to make it back. And people at Tower still haven't. Some people are still homeless, I believe.
Yeah,
living with families.
No, they are. Yeah, they are. And this is the thing. It's like, And here's the thing for me, right? I'm a big believer in being independent, and when I mean independent, I mean independent from the government. If you're relying on the government to help you out when you're in hardship, more often than not, you're always going to be disappointed. I'm not saying that they don't do good, because there are stuff and schemes that are out there that are good, but more often than not, you're going to be disappointed. And I think the lesson to be learned from all of this, which is making, all these other stories come out, and people are sort of opening their eyes to the inequality and the poverty and the unfairness, and how the system is designed to be biased and not fair to people of brown skin, is that you need to be self-sufficient. We need to be self-sufficient so that you are independent financially from having to rely on the government. So for instance, if people, for instance, in a low economic area, if they all got together and said, right, we're gonna have our own little sort of funding pool, right? Every month we'll throw a fiver in there. If you get, I don't know, 50,000 residents, throwing £5 in there, if you do the maths, that's like what? 250,000. 250k, that would be a month, right? Fiver a month, 250k. There's a lot of things you can do with 250k, not on a massive scale, but that could help to build part of, it could help to buy clothes, food, pay for people's bills who are in hardship, that kind of thing. People can start these things. It's societies, groups, that kind of thing. That's how like organizations start, like a working men's society, that kind of thing. They all come together and they put money together. They raise money for certain things, just because obviously there's some people who actually earn maybe a little bit more than the people who are absolutely the poorest and vulnerable, and then everyone can help each other. But it's not off the government's back. It's off of the people deciding, what we're going to do is we're going to come together and we're just going to throw some money in a pot. We'll have, I don't know, we'll elect some people who we think is sick and leaders that can look after this money, look after this pot, and ensure that it goes to places that we need it to go to. That's what the government is supposed to do. But like, the government haven't been doing that enough for black people, or people of color. So I feel like if you set up your own little enterprises and your own little societies and stuff like that, you can help each other, and that's basically. And it doesn't even have to be an official name. You don't even have to have a name for it. It could just be an economic system where we circulate the money within this sort of group, so that we can keep helping each other. Imagine if you had, right, and I thought about something like this, the film industry in Leeds, right, for sort of small independent filmmakers, not a massive industry. There's I could probably, if I name a few people, you probably know who they are, right? And this is the people who aren't working for big production companies. These are independents, right? If you got all of them together and you said, right, guys, I want to start an income pool and we want to help each other, and you said, right, we're going to every month, let's all just throw in £50 each, and see how much money we get in this pot, and we can use that, and then we might be able to buy a camera or whatever, right? And then every month, we just book out the camera, and you're only allowed to use the camera one time in a space of whatever, and you get the turn. You finally get your turn, that kind of thing. That would help, because some people might not be able to afford a high-end camera, a cinema camera. So you've put this money in, you've paid for this, and now you're allowed to use this piece of equipment. Or for instance, it could be that you put this money in the pool and it's like, oh shit, I need some lighting. So rather than going out and buying your own lighting, put money in the pool, and then everyone says, right, this month we're going to buy some lighting gear, right? And we're just going to buy a shitload of lighting gear, and then whoever needs it the most, and like, you know what I mean, you take your turn and take
Yeah.
it. Obviously, you have to make sure there's a fair way of doing it. But that's an economic pool where you're pooling your resources together and you're doing it so that you're helping. And then when that happens, you start seeing the level of production growing, because you've got equipment that you can use to a high professional level to help you get your work done. This person's able to buy himself a new lens. This person's able, and the quality builds, and then you get better jobs, and then everyone else wins. Everyone wins, and then the economy of the film industry builds and wins.
Yeah.
Why do you think in certain industries you get certain things that are always right next to each other? If you go down Kirksall Road, there's production company, ITV, another production company, what's it called?
Media City in
Provision, Media City. These things, they help each other out because they're right next door to each other, so that they can help each other out. If you had something like that, where it's like there's a funding pool where, look, we're all in this together, let's help each other out, throw some money in the pot, and then we'll buy, I don't know, we'll buy a studio and then everyone just is able to book and rent and do production stuff in that studio. It's a creative hub where you can come and you can do some writing. You can, you know what I mean, it might be a place for you to sit down and use that as an office. You know what I mean? Get parcels delivered. You know what I mean? It's things like that. That's the key for I think anyway, in terms of empowering yourself to get out of a situation. Because if everyone starts realizing that we're all in the same boat, then they'll start to realize, instead of rowing at my own pace, if we row all together at the same time, we'll move in not only the right direction, but we'll move a lot faster. Mm-hmm. So that's just my analogy and how I think of it anyway.
It makes sense, because it boils down to taking things in your own account. So like doing things yourself, because ultimately that's just in life as well, not even just with this whole government thing. Like taking matters into your own hands is the number one thing you should be doing in life. And you don't see it because you see people saying, I wish, and those people are the people that don't have that mindset, and they rely on a lot of people. And even if it's just friends, or they're always relying on something or someone, but
to bail them out.
Of course. And I just advise people to what people should be doing if they're in that space is, first of all, if you say, I wish I had a six-pack, or I wish I was shredded, first thing to do, right? Or not even that, like just the first principle I think as a human being is going out and exercising, because you've personally made that choice. That's a self that's a movement. You've made a conscious choice to do that. And once you've got into that routine, you're gonna get not bored, but it's gonna become autopilot, and then you're gonna find another thing to put your focus into. Which may be, let's say you want to be a football player, you start football at a team. So then you can do that, which is off your own back. You're not relying on anyone. You're doing everything yourself. People getting it twisted. People expect too much from other people, and then when they don't get it, they kind of get heartbroken by it, and then they just fall into this little bubble where they victimize themselves.
You're 100% right, bro. You're 100% right.
Pop the bubble and just fucking go for it, and just and that's with everything. And like I said, with the movement, we're definitely seeing that. Definitely seeing people take account in our own hands. I know vandalism, I don't condone it whatsoever, but the slave statue, for example, was it Bristol? That was, to me, I found that amazing, and people might like screw the face up of me saying that, but look what it's done. It's took so many different statues down now. Because imagine if you was, let's just say that the tables are 10, right? So let's just say the slave trade was for white people. And I know it's a horrible thing to even think about, but let's just switch it up for a second. And let's just say you're a white person, you're walking down the street and you see that statue every single day, and you know what it resembles, and you know the history of it. Would you be happy seeing that every day? Like going to work and, because it's a constant reminder of, like it's so, I think.
No, you're right, because it's like saying to someone, I Oh, things have changed. No. It's like saying to someone, I've abused you for, I don't know, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put up a mural to remind you of the abuse that I did to you. It's fine. I'm not abusing you anymore, but I'm going to put a reminder up.
Mm-hmm.
So every often when you walk past there, you're reminded of how I used to abuse you. And then when you complain about it, and it's like, it's just a statue. Why are you getting so aggy about it?
Yeah.
But then when the statue comes down, then you want to get aggy about the statue. But then when we told you before, that it was a reminder of the abuse that you gave that happened to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying it's just a statue. So the double standards and the hypocrisy, I think is not on purpose. I think people are genuinely oblivious in terms of how they've been brought up. So they've been indoctrinated into a way of thinking that this is okay, and what you do is violence. They've been indoctrinated. It's something that you taught from a very young age, and you've experienced it and you've lived it through pretty much your whole life. And then all of a sudden someone tries to tell you that, no, everything you've been taught is completely wrong. When, and who are you to sort of believe them? Because all your life, it's been working for you and you've not seen anything else wrong with it. So I think that's,
it goes back to the bubble as well, like I said, because end of the day, if you feel some sort of way from a statue being taken down that resembles hatred and corruption, and like basically racism as well, obviously it's clearly racism. If you feel any type of way from that statue being taken down and thrown into the river, which is brilliant, then you're in this bubble of victimization, and it's not even like for that person, it's because they feel vandalized. You're saying all white people are like this, blah, blah. No. What we're saying is, you be in my shoes, knowing what that statue means, would you like it? No.
Yeah.
If it was the other way around, it would have been changed, it would have been taken down. So it is double standards, bro, and it's about people understanding and just looking at things in a different perspective. And don't victimize yourself after everything you see. Or when people read Black Lives Matter, they take it in such a wrong way. And
I think we lost connection. I don't know if you can still hear me.
I can hear you. I think your camera's froze though. Can you hear me? Oh,
have I got you? You still there?
Yeah.
Hey, back. Sorry, I've got no idea what happened. I think you cut off at stop victimizing yourself or whatever.
Yeah. I was talking about the Black Lives Matter as well. The statement of that, people take it personal, and
they take it too literal.
Yeah.
Too literal. We're not. Yeah.
And the point is, it's people say, "Oh, all lives matter." Correct, they do, right? But that's not the point they're trying to say. The point is, how can you say all lives matter, but yet you don't care when a black person or let's just say any heritage, even Hispanics get it quite bad in America as well and stuff like that.
Oh, I think they're the worst discriminated against in America.
Yeah. Hispanics are bad. I feel sorry for anyone that kind of experiences all of this stuff, man, honestly.
Bro.
But I forgot where I was going with this.
Black Lives Matter.
But yeah,
what it means.
When people say all lives matter, it's not about that. It's about understanding that all lives can't matter until Black lives or Hispanic lives or Asian lives matter, because we know it's evidence that white privilege is a thing, and a lot of white people don't have to worry about these things. The parents do not sit them down and tell them, if a police officer pulls you over, this is what you do. They're not taught that. And
don't have to be taught that, because it's because it's
the fact that a Hispanic person or a black family have to teach their kids that's what Black Lives Matter stands for. That's what the equality, man. It's the equality. All lives cannot matter until these other people that are suffering lives matter as well. And then when that is all sorted and situated, then we can say our lives matter. Because soon as this situation starts happening to white people as much as it does to all these other people, we can start seeing shit like that. But it isn't. So let's focus on where the problem is and sort it out.
Yeah. I think people are so hung up about a statement. They don't actually understand, or they're not realizing that it's not the actual statement which is the problem. The problem is the ideology.
It's not personal.
So for instance, it's an obvious statement that all lives matter. There's you saying that is actually ignorant and stupid, because it's an obvious statement.
Yeah.
The reason why and the reason why people are screaming Black Lives Matter isn't in opposition of white people. It's in opposition of the tyranny and the oppression that Black and brown people have faced. And how can you say again that like you said, all lives matter when this is happening to people? And it's an obvious, well, not to people who aren't, again, like you said, who are in that bubble. It's an obvious sort of thing to see that there is a difference in the way that Black and brown people are treated on this earth compared to white people. It's an obvious thing. If you went into a room and you asked 50 people at random to trade their lives or trade where they live for to go live somewhere in like Africa, for instance. And the thing is, people misinterpret Africa. They think Africa's all poor and people are living in squatter camps and stuff like that. Yeah, it like if you've got a little bit of money there, you can live a really nice life. You get me? Depending on where you are, of course. But if you ask them to trade places with 50 random people, who might be the wealthiest people in that country or whatever, they'd probably say no. Or not even just people in the wealth in that country. If you just ask them to say trade places with a Black person just in your own neighborhood, they'd probably say no, because they know for a fact that deep down there is a difference in the way that people are treated, and they don't want to be treated like that. But they don't want to do anything about it, because they think because they don't treat people badly that's enough. Like there is a system and systems that have been built to have a negative impact on the communities of and this is the thing, right? So it used to be communities of poor people, but then when obviously slavery and colonization happened, and you got the integration of Black and brown people, that kind of thing around the world, or the mass integration of people around the world, that's when you had to sort of create a classification system, which meant that you could penalize someone not based on their color of their skin, but based on their circumstance. And because of how colonialization happened, the circumstances of Black people, that the majority of people, they weren't allowed opportunities to better themselves in terms of not education, because education was fine. Like, in fact, the reason why Windrush happened was because the West Indies had an over-educated population. So that they could come over here and start working jobs straight away. They didn't need to be taught. You didn't need to educate a workforce. They were already educated. That's why they came over here. So they were denied opportunities. So denied loans because of they couldn't afford housing. They couldn't. They didn't have jobs that were highly paid. They didn't have a history of employment in this country. In some circumstances, they might not have had certain qualifications to do certain things, and they would have to spend loads more time, trying to earn qualifications to do things. So that already sets the gap, for certain things. So when you're trying to start a business and you're getting denied a loan and you don't know anyone with money who can bankroll you to start your business, that puts you at the bottom of the pile. And that's based on, and what they try to do is they based it on, they call it ring fencing. So if you live in a certain postcode, they knew certain people lived in certain postcodes. So they'd say, okay, everyone in LS7 is classed as high risk because of the crime rate, or because of the levels of income in that area isn't as high as somewhere like Shadwell, right? So anyone who's trying to start something in that area is ring fenced, and you say, "No, we're not going to give you this. You need to prove a lot more different criteria to be able to get like a loan or to get something." So it's little things like that in the system where it disproportionately has an impact on the progress of people of black and brown color, because you can call it what you want. It's racism. That is worse than someone going out and calling you a nigger. That is worse than that, because you're physically you're stopping people from being able to progress into something else. So like, it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it happens to everyone, because there are people who manage to work the system and break out of it and that kind of thing. And I'd like to think that we're part of that. But it happens, and that's the thing. It still happens to this day. And that's what people are crying for, and saying, look, the system is treating us unfairly. It's not a fair system. And this is even, I could go on for ages about this. Like, you think about the colonies of European countries in Africa, and some countries, for instance, like Congo, right? For minerals and resources and natural resources, it's the richest country in the world. If you go on in terms of value, it's the richest country in the world. How are you that poor as a country, but you have the resources are worth that much? Like, how is that even possible? The certain things of like reparations that haven't been paid to these countries from European countries, and the thing is, what happened was, when these countries were independent, what they did? So what they said is, okay, if you want support from us, you have to take a loan. Take a loan from us, and you loan money, and you get interest rates, and then you haven't got a population that's set up for to set up a workforce. You know what I mean? Or educated enough to set up a workforce to deal with certain things. That's how economies collapse. You get me? But they knew what they were doing. They knew that they couldn't sustain these loans and stuff like that, but they still told these African countries, yo, take these loans, because if you don't, then you're just going to be poor, and everyone's going to be poor. So they took these loans. It was all good when everything started, and they were starting to see some sort of growth, but then people get greedy, wars break out, and you know what I mean, and there's a power struggle where you've created a situation where you've just left people to it, and there wasn't anything in place, or proper things in place to help these countries form nations that were properly run and properly governed, and it still happens till this day.
Take advantage. So, that's what it is. I mean, take advantage and then chuck them in the curb, and it's sad. It's sad to see.
Yeah.
It's sad, and it all comes down to greed. At the end of it, all comes down to just wanting to be 100%. The wealthiest country or the wealthiest man, and it's just sad. So much 100%. More life than money, man.
Yeah, man.
But that's why media is so important, and as we know, it shapes how people see things. So the news is terrible for it, man. The news is so bad. The news obviously shapes a lot of negativity, but I think the best thing about that, on the flip side, is film. Films always have a political meaning behind it. Even like Terminator, that even has a political meaning behind it.
Yeah.
So it's always like, I think film's a blessing in media, and then like the news is just like the evil brother that didn't get its own way.
Yeah. Well, I've watched a lot of people speak about like the news and stuff. Like the news is like an evil, a necessary evil that they say. So like for instance, people, they want to be informed, but they also don't want to be fed bullshit. But they can't tell the difference between the two.
Yeah.
So you might see something as information, but it's actually BS. It's complete BS.
Watching people, bro. That's what it is.
And like you said before, like we live our lives with two sticks on a carrot. One's fear, one's greed. And if you know what to be fearful of, and it's put in front of you every single day, that's how you navigate your life. Oh, I'm staying away from this, or I'm not going to get involved with this. And yeah, it's almost like they're called stories for a reason. You know, and they say a news story. It's a story. There's an agenda behind. It's like I always say, why do they not show, when they show world news, why do they always show us specific places in the world of world news? USA, Pakistan, Afghanistan. You might now and again hear about other big countries like China. You don't really hear too much about Russia, apart from when they're doing stuff in the Middle East and whatnot. But you never hear about like certain other countries like Brazil or like Colombia or like whatever. The narrative is because we have connections with these countries that are deeply tied into how our societies are shaped today. Like, for instance, Afghanistan and most of the Middle East, or that region of the Middle East, was under British control. I don't know if a lot of people know this.
Same with India as well.
India, Pakistan, India, Pakistan, Iran, which used to be Persia. You know, Lawrence of Arabia, that story. Yeah, all of that. So that's why we get fed these stories from these countries, because they have a connection with where we are here through historical connections, and those things that have happened in the past historically have shaped how our society is today, and the power structures of our society today. You
know the funny thing, bro. I'm sorry to cut you in there, but
no, sorry.
When I was traveling, and I went to places like India where they don't really look at news too much, purely because one, they can't afford the TV, and two, because they're just so busy with their life and what they actually do. Just crack on. But one thing I did notice is they're happy and the content, like, and I think if we take inspiration from these countries, I can imagine Pakistan and all these other busy places in Bangladesh being similar. Don't get me wrong, with poverty and some people are bad, but
bros,
the thing is the content.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, bro, in some of the poorest countries, you'll get the happiest people because they don't know anything but what they know. And in our society, like, you think about how many people, like, unfortunately, they take their own lives because of stress, because of mental health.
Yeah,
like those things don't hardly exist elsewhere because they're not under the same sort of pressures that we're under within our society.
Yeah.
And our society has great rewards, but also with great rewards there's great drawbacks from that. And you do get this melting pot of people being insecure, and yeah, it's sad because in places like that they don't have anything to measure up against, and they're not trying to chase the Joneses. Obviously they'd love to be out of poverty and live in lavish places, and not even lavish places, just in a situation where you know how we class, well, not even well off, just situations that we class as like a working class family. Like where they would live. They'd love to be living in a house like that where they are back home, in a nice home. They've got running water, they've got heating, you know what I mean? They don't have to worry about diseases and stuff because there's proper sanitation. You know, they'd love all that, but they're happy because they don't know anything but that.
Yeah, they don't. And I think,
and it's when we see that side of the coin where it's like, oh, mad, how are they happy? How are they happy? But they don't have the pressures that we have, because all they know is to enjoy life and every day just to be present. You get me?
They don't compare, bro. And even like the businesses, they don't see it as a negative thing. They all help each other out. Because we'd go into one place and we're like, nah, it's all right. And then they recommend to another store, and it's just like, you don't hear that in England. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you know, anywhere else? Nah, sorry, mate. Why don't you want to help me out?
People don't care, because they don't care. Like my whole thing is, everyone's so wrapped up in their own lives that they're everyone's always thinking of, what can I do to better myself tomorrow? They're always thinking of the future, and I'm guilty of falling into this trap, where you're always living your life in hope for, it'll get me a better job next year, or if I do this today, it'll get me whatever. You're always looking to the future, worrying about the future, worrying about how can I get more money, how can I get above this, how can I get more followers, get more likes, that kind of thing. And it's all good, and there's nothing wrong with it, but at the same time, that creates insecurities, that creates people being sort of greed. It's greed. Basically, it creates an environment for greed to happen, and that's when you get situations like people not caring. It's like they don't care. They literally don't care, because of how the system that they've been brought up in has taught them that is okay. You get me?
Yeah.
And this is why I feel like it's very difficult for some people in today's world, even though we are so much more liberal than years gone by. It's a lot difficult for people to understand certain things in the world about racism and oppression, because they're so blinded, they're so horse flaps, tunnel vision, that their mind has not been allowed to look at everything, look at bigger picture. You get me? Because they've been taught to focus on you and look for the future, and you need to get more likes, you need to get a better job, you need to get, you know what I mean, all of this.
It's finding balance and just doing the things you love to do. And I think that's the beauty of what we do, because we really truly do. And I think it's like therapy what we do, because we can then, whatever we think or whatever we're feeling, we can put that in a project. And it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like therapy, where you're letting all your emotions out to certain things and certain projects. But
no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I kind of want to wrap it up a bit. This has been a sick convo. I could literally go on for ages, but it's almost been 2 hours. 2 hours. But it's been.
It's calm, bro.
I'm gonna probably.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, it just froze for a sec. Sorry, go on.
I'm probably gonna clip these end bits, just because I think it's a conversation that definitely needs to be heard. And I just really liked where the conversation went. So I'm probably gonna clip this end bit and put it on my Instagram, 3 segments. Yeah,
cool, man. Yo, thank you for asking me to be on as well, man. I really appreciate it. It's good to properly chop it up, because we've met properly, but in passing, where we haven't really had enough time to chop it up and speak and stuff like that. So man, definitely need to talk about doing some stuff together as well, innit, and working on some stuff. So man.
Even if it in us two working on a music video, just me being on set with you guys, I'd love to do that as well. And get
bro, 100%, man. So when I've got something, I'll give you a shout, because I love working and being around like-minded people. I can see that you've got your vision for certain things is in a certain similar mind frame and mindset that I'm in. So man, we'll link up. We'll definitely link up and do something.
100%,
all right, cool, bro.
Appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. All right, bless up, bro. Take care. Love.
Bye.